Hi.
Like, boo. Hey everybody, welcome back.
Hello, Clarice. References.
Yes. So, how's everybody doing?
I think they said good.
Yes.
Hopefully good.
So, but yeah, so tonight's video is a video request that we got on cleansing
your items.
magic items. Also, hey Sergio, thanks
We
for
loved your
responding.
video.
Yes, thanks for responding to the 13 questions. That's funny. I love that part where you're like, my spell backfired and I ended up getting money. Yeah, that's never a backfire. That's a good thing.
Be proud of that and use it again.
Yes. Yes, queen.
Yes, queen.
So, like we said, tonight's video is on
Cleansing.
cleansing magical
Objects.
That too.
Objects.
So,
I think that counts as a word.
yeah, we've covered it in the past with like candles specifically and everything like that, but this time's gonna be a little bit more specific.
I'll bring that plate over here.
And
The jar. Bring your keys, bring your lives, That's good. We should be good.
so that's tonight's video. Cleansing stuff. What has been your experience or what are your views on cleansing items that you're going to be using for a ritual?
Make sure you do it beforehand. I like to do the cleansings before I go into ritual because I like to see it. Some people I've noticed see it as completely getting rid of it, and other people see it as neutralizing the energies that were contained. What is your opinion on both of those?
For me, usually cleansing an object is just, getting rid of the previous energies that are associated or attached to the item. Some items are easier to cleanse than others, depending on the material. At one point in my magical career, even when I would use like pieces of parchment, it doesn't matter if it was like genuine parchment or
Hi.
hey, or just like a sheet of paper parchment. I would actually cleanse it, consecrate it, bless it before I used it. That's really common with ceremonial magic, especially if you're going to be making something like talismans.
Mastering Witchcraft here? Because it's in there too.
It's in the other room.
Well, it's in that book too.
Yeah, Mastering Witchcraft has a good example of it. Whenever I use any type of thing, I prefer that anything that we put on the altar gets cleansed and consecrated first. And that even goes with like altar cloths.
Yeah. No one wants to do magic on... Think of it like a canvas when you're painting. No one likes a dirty canvas. Also, you can use it... The best way is with the elements. You can use your own personal will. But I like to view it as if I'm using just my body and not a separate tool to...
Just my body.
If I'm just using my physical body or my etheric body...
God, Mojo scared me.
I was like, girl...
Sorry, the door opened, the door's closed, and the cat decided to push her way through, and we just let the door creep open. It's like, oh my god.
She's magic as all.
So.
So, where was I at? My body. Oh, yeah. Using your body, whether it's the physical or it's the energetic side, or even astrally, you can probably cleanse things. Depends on skill level and what you know you're capable of. But a lot of it also goes into belief in your will. Just like any magic. But something that I notice we use a lot is elements for cleansing. Do you want to go over that, or do you want me to keep talking?
Yeah. Like I said, we've covered it. It depends on the material that you're using. If you're going to be consecrating stuff like parchment or paper talismans, you don't want to be submerging it in water to the point where ink's going to run. When you're passing it through candle flame, you don't want to set the material on fire. Same goes for poppets and everything like that. Even if you make it yourself, you should cleanse it before
you make it.
Yeah. So like if you're making your own candles, and when we make our own candles, I usually do like a little cleansing invocation over it, draw banishing pentagrams and whatnot. Old school, what I was always taught was that if you ever draw a banishing pentagram, usually the earth banishing pentagram, over an object, it neutralizes it, whether it's already been previously charged or if it's something new that you're going to be using or working with. Also, what I will do is I'll pass it through the elements, like earth, sprinkle some salt or, touch it to our salt dish, sprinkle a little bit of water on it, so long as I know that the material will
not get ruined.
Yeah, will not get damaged. Pass it through incense smoke, and different incense we use different types. You can use sage if you want, or frankincense, myrrh, copal.
My favorite is the white copal.
Yeah.
By far. Mostly because I love the smell of it. But it also brings up the vibe for me and everything.
Yeah. Another thing is passing it through a candle flame. Even when we have like our quarter candles or on our altar, we keep a candle on there for fire, which is common in a lot of traditions and practices. We usually cleanse the little candle that we use, and we like to use the little tea lights.
Find out what massage school is really like.
So yeah, just this little candle and everything like that. We clean it off with water, and then I'll dress it with blessing oil, and then I'll do like a little prayer or invocation over it, and I'll put it in the holder on the altar.
Examples.
Like
the candle itself that you're using.
that works.
Yeah, because you're replacing the old fire candle.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I need to get a new holder for this. It's little.
it's pretty though.
Yeah. So I have my candle, and we usually keep consecrated water on our altar. The altar's right here. So,
Yeah.
what I'll do is I have incense going here too, so I'll pass it through the incense smoke. Be thou cleansed, consecrated, and blessed, and removed from the all impurities of thy past. With the element of water and earth, I do remove from thee and wash thee pure. That you all represent, that all previous representations and images will be cleansed from thee. If you want, you can pop out the wax, if it does, and just wipe it down with a little bit of the water. You don't want to use so much that it inhibits the burning. And when you're dressing it, you can use a specialty oil like fire oil, whatever, blessing oil.
You could also use essential oil that is from an herb of fire, such as cinnamon. Be careful with it going on your skin, though.
Be anointed, dedicated, and blessed to thy intended purpose, that you will be a representation of the element of fire on the altar. So be it.
So be it.
Then I'll draw an invoking pentagram over it.
If it's over elements, go with your elemental invoking pentagram that corresponds.
Yeah, and then I just put it in a holder, and it's ready for use.
Mm-hmm.
With incense, some traditions say that it's required to say a little invocation of cleansing over your incense as well. We do that once in a while, but not all the time. Because whenever I make incense, I usually do like a blessing over the incense, and we use powder incense in a lot of our work.
There you go, Magic.
So, what else have we done with that? And like we said, any tools that we use, even if it's just like a simple string or a cord, candles,
The bell.
like our
Our.
magic bell.
So, bring your talisman.
This one's a metal talisman. I can't remember what it's from, but it's a mercurial talisman. You want to hold this closer?
Oh, yes. Like,
So when I obtained that, it wasn't brand new. When I used to work at the bookstore, somebody brought it in and was selling it, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go ahead and buy it. So I got it, and I'm not sure what kind of pass was on there or anything like that, who owned it previously, which is, some people will say, well, you shouldn't do that because it's got the previous associations. But,
that's what cleansing comes in handy for.
Yeah, that's why you're
Like-
cleaning it. You're spiritually sterilizing it.
And I've noticed, like, with me, too, I used to get a lot of things secondhand when I was first starting thrift stores.
Mm-hmm.
Came in very handy, but I knew how to cleanse them, so they worked for me. And if you really want to know, like, where it was, if you're developed in the skill of...
She almost didn't make it on the bed.
I know, she made me, like, forget what I was going to say.
We're developing the skill.
I was like, is it, touch? I can't think right now. What's the exact term for it where you touch the item and you can view the past of it?
Psychometry.
Psychometry. As a psychist, no, that's not it. God,
Yeah.
Moji, you made me forget it. I love you. If you're skilled in psychometry, then you can utilize that gift to peer into the past, where it's been, what it was used for, who used it. But if you really don't care, then just cleanse it.
Yeah.
So he's lighting up the incense for air and fire. Now the bell, representative of air, because it makes the sound through the air.
Yeah, that when we obtained it, we cleansed it. Usually, when we do cleansing stuff like talismans, amulets, we'll actually have a circle cast. So we'll purify our space, all kinds of fun stuff like that. And then people are going to be like, well, what if you're just starting, and how are you going to cleanse your items before you even get them and stuff like that? There's always the nitpickers, but that's what we're here for, to help learn.
Yes.
So
let's bring up your talisman. So Mercury, would you associate with air?
yeah, it could be associated with air, but with a planetary talisman like this, I wouldn't necessarily charge it with the elements. I'd go for more of a planetary charge. That's what I'm going for.
But for cleansing.
For cleansing, then I would just do a general cleansing type of ritual and everything.
You can use your preferred method. You can use the bell, which is what I'm getting towards with the air. So you would call to spirits of air. You can, if you're in a cast circle, you can call to the sylphs to assist you. You can call to another form of the element, or you can call to the element itself. By the powers of the element of air, by the ringing of the spell, we cleanse thee of thine past, and make you clean and new.
You want to get both sides. So, then,
You can go on to charging it.
So this is a general cleansing type thing. So I get my fire. Usually this is already lit beforehand. Creature of talisman, I cleanse thee and purify thee of all thy past with the element of fire. Be far removed from thee all previous impressions and influences. Thou shalt be made anew. So be it.
So be it.
Now, when it says pass the talisman through the fire, you don't have to actually set the whole thing on fire, but get it as close as you can without damaging it or hurting yourself or your material.
When it comes in contact with the elemental power, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to touch the element per se, because it generates energy. Think of it like a light. The bulb generates the light. The light expands from the bulb.
The electricity is the spiritual forces that you're calling in and invoking and everything like that. Turning on the light switch is doing your actual invocations, and you become like the power cord.
You're the plug from the universal power to the world.
So with water, I would go ahead and hold this.
Magician's assistant. No, I'm just kidding.
With the element of water, I do cleanse thee and wash thee of thy past. Be far removed from here all impurities and uncleanliness of this world, and in the world of phantasm and spirit. So be it.
So be it.
Thank you. Usually we do this more gracefully. It's not less stretching out all over the place. So, I cleanse thee and consecrate thee with the element of earth. Be far removed from here all impurities and uncleanliness. So be it.
So be it. Now, if you don't want to use salt for the earth representation, you start.
If you also want to, you don't want to get salt all over your altar, just lay it on top of it. Do your invocation, everything like that. Then it's clean. And the way that I like to test them, let's go ahead and put this back over here, is a handy dandy pendulums.
Pendulums. Sounds like pantaloons. Not you.
So, usually hold it over.
I always avoid looking at it, but I'm not going to look at my reflection right now on the camera.
Okay.
Is this talisman fully cleansed?
Swing clockwise, which we take as an affirmation of yes.
And some pendulums will be different. Ask it.
Yeah.
They have feelings too, Thank
So,
you.
now the next step. The next step. Now that you've cleansed and consecrated your material, you actually got to charge it up for what it is that you're going to get it. What you're going to do with it. You can do the cleansing ritual prior, to the actual time of consecration. So what I would do is, since it has to do with Mercury, I would wait until Wednesday.
During the hour of Mercury.
Which, is easiest one is at sunrise. Now, planetary hours, they're not even with our
standard hourly time. Because every day the sun will be in the sky at a different amount of time than the previous day. So you can go really in depth, look up the actual exact minute and second an hour that the sun rises to sunset and divide it between them. Or you can be quick about it, get an almanac or the app.
Yeah, usually you just take the hour that it rises. So if it says like 5:30, 3 in the morning sunrise, take that number and then you got to divide it by 12, and then it'll give you, the hour. You got to do some multiplication and division. It's very complicated, but when you read it through it,
It takes a while, but it's not super hard once you actually do it. It's just time consuming.
Mhm.
Apps are so much quicker. I hate to say it, but lazy witch.
Yeah. So now that I have, let's say that I am waiting on the planetary day, the hour. So
One more second. The app that we use actually geolocates to our location, so that way it's more accurate. So that no one's saying that like you're doing it wrong. We try to go as best as we can, and it's been pretty accurate because we did the math and checked it up with it. So
yeah. So what I would
Back to what
do
you're
on the day of the ritual is get my incense. Incense that correspond to what it is that you're working with. For a mercurial talisman, you can use mercury incense. This one in particular has to do with better business, trade, stuff like that. Finances. Mercury is also good for gambling, luck. It can also deal with travel, communication, and whatnot. So anything that's ruled under Mercury. So I'd get I prefer to use the planetary incense for Mercury. Put them on the incense burner. If you want to use candles to help draw more of that energy, the colors you would use are orange and blue, which are the colors of Mercury. The actual primary color for Mercury is orange, and the Queen's scale of the Golden Dawn's correspondences when it comes to color. Blue is the complementary color.
which most magical practitioners tend to go back to.
Yeah. If you wanted to use the magic tablet or the
magic
cameos, yeah, the magic square, the cameos, just go ahead and put that down on your altar. Make sure it's colored properly, or if you're using a black and white version, put that down. So I usually set the talisman on top of my cameo, and I have no idea where my mercury cameo is. It's in the closet somewhere.
Oh yeah.
And then what I would do is I'd get my ritual area prepped. So I would cast my circle. I would then do my quarter calls if I'm using quarters, and then I would do a planetary invocation. A really good way to do a simple planetary invocation is reciting some of the Orphic hymns. You can find like an Orphic hymn to Mercury or to Hermes, something along those lines for Jupiter, the Orphic hymn for Jove or Jupiter, stuff like that.
Zeus.
Zeus, and then I will sit there and I'll get into the ritual and I'll say it. I'll have my incense going, my candles burning, and then I'll do my Orphic hymns. And then I consecrate it. So focus on what it is that you're wanting. Everybody has different methods for doing it. You can see it in a lot of different books. It can be very simple, but it can also be very elaborate and in depth. So what I would do is I would draw like a hexagram associated with the planet of Mercury. You can usually find that in anything on the Golden Dawn or Planetary Magic.
Modern Magic is probably... Does that one cover it?
Modern Magic doesn't really have the planetary hexagrams, I don't think.
I don't know. I haven't gone through Modern Magic.
So, but he, Donald Michael Craig goes through like creating elemental talismans, and you can use the same method for it. So I would, recite my invocation, focus on what it is that I'm wanting. If it was better business, gambling luck, better communication, to go on a trip, something along those lines, safety during travel. And what I like to do is I have it on the center of my altar, and I'll do what's called a triangle of manifestation. Triangle of manifestation is just putting your index fingers and your thumbs together, so you make a triangle.
It's the thingy that everyone in pop culture calls the Illuminati sign.
Yeah. So it's one of those old signs that kind of goes universal when it comes to magical practices. In different traditions that are practiced, it seems to be one of the constant things for charging talismans or amulets and stuff like that. So, and then I would just envision like a ball or an orb of light between my hands, where in the triangle. And I'd focus on that. And at the same time, I'm focused on what it is that I'm wanting. So say I wanted to do better business. I'd focus on better business, attract more better business, blah, blah, blah. It's a little mantra or something like that inside your head. Focus on that. Envision the ball like in an orange hue or a blue, orange and blue, or just orange, or you can just do white. And then focus on that, pull it down, try to see it as best that you can. Go ahead and hold this up. Oh no, just like by the thing. So I'm doing this, and then I just envision that ball of light going around the talisman or my materium, and it's fusing with it. And not just like surrounding it, but actually going to every molecule on the inside of it. And it just starting to pulsate and grow and get stronger, and I just, give it my statement of intent, for lack of a better word. Creature of talisman, now be empowered and make, now be empowered and blessed to bring forth better business and customers to our business. Stuff like that. Or grant us safety while we travel, or grant me gambling luck and success.
Creature of metal, this charge we task, bring forth, insert blank statement here, of which I ask.
Yeah, focus on that as much as you can. And then after a while, just slowly remove your hands. And then there you have a planetary simple charge talisman.
Some people also like to tap items as a way of like sealing it in. If you're doing that with planetary one, you can go with the planetary number, or you can go with something that corresponds to you.
Yeah, usually for something like that, we use a wand and just tap it. So, how many times are associated with the planet? And there you go, you have a simply charged talisman and or amulet.
Now, these methods that we're using, you can also use them on things that aren't necessarily like talismans. After candle spells, you can use your candle holders the same way. Plates the same way. Containers the same way for spells or for supplies. Tools.
That was a pack of the oracle cards, Halloween oracle cards. So you can add to it, take away from it, and everything like that. Start small, then build your way up.
Yeah.
So if you're working with like doing an elemental talisman, what I like to do is I'll actually go to the quarter that is associated with an element, and I'll hold the talisman in my hand, and then I'll use the elemental tool of that. So for fire, I would use a wand. Or air, my athame. For water, I would hold my chalice over it. For earth, I would hold a pentacle. Now, some traditions too will have you place your magically charged items onto your consecrated pentacle, because that's what it does. It's a battery. It's helps to hold in energy, and also helps to draw out excess energy and stuff like that. Usually when I get overly stimulated and I'm not grounded, I'll grab my altar pentacle and I'll just hold it to my heart chakra just to absorb some of the funkiness and everything like that. Excuse me. So, burpee.
I know that whenever I first started cleansing items, I would get very paranoid about it getting tainted. If you're worried about that, one of my favorite things to do, this I like to think of as the Keep Me Clean box. And I think we've showed it in videos before. This is a box I got at Michael's because I thought it was pretty. I was actually getting it for something else, but this one out. So we have a bunch of like stones and colored items and old things that you can use in spellcraft. Different woods, chips, and I use white rice. That just went all over the floor. But I use white rice inside of it to keep them clean, because I use white rice for cleansing, and I also associate it with earth, i.e. harvests and things of such.
Yeah.
Comes from the ground.
So other things that you can use too, and you've seen us talk about this, is using Florida water to clean your items. Whenever you use Florida water or anything like that, make sure you say a prayer to get it charged up. It's called fixing it up. And you've seen our candle video and how we cleanse the candle and everything, using Florida water, holy water, that sort of deal. For other items too, like if you're going to be using brand new altar candles or holders, I would just cleanse them just because it's going on my altar, that's going on my workspace. I don't want some tainted energy or.
Even if it's like your magic journal, I would do it too. It helps, even if you don't necessarily see it as an important thing. By making yourself do this repeatedly, you are helping to allow yourself to go into an altered state of consciousness a lot easier.
Now, how often does an item need to be cleansed or charged? That all depends on you and what type of work you're doing. If you're doing like a candle to hex somebody or something like that,
you may want to clean up.
Yeah, cleanse your candle and your plate. Usually with the plates, when we put candles underneath them, or we put candles on top of the plate. Sorry. And after the candle burns out, I'm always like washing them off with salt water just to clean out the bad, the bad vibes that might have been absorbed. Right. Tools. I've heard some people say that your ritual tool should be reconsecrated and dedicated at least once a year. Other people say you just do it once and not worry about it. Other people say that if somebody else touches them, then cleanse and consecrate them and stuff like that. How do you protect your magic tools? The old tradition is to wrap them in silk, because silk helps to insulate the energy so it doesn't become neutralized or tainted or anything like that. And when we're not using our ritual tools, we have a
magic box.
Yeah, we have a wooden box back here that we keep everything in when it's not in use.
I like to call it the treasure chest.
I just call it my witch box. So, and a lot of stuff you'll find too, people will, say like, there's certain prayers and invocations. Where do I get them at? How do I find them? And a lot of people do pull sources from the Greater Key of Solomon, because he goes into consecrating the tools. There's even circle casting, the exorcism of water and salt are used in a lot of
modern Wiccan
practices. Modern Wiccan or witchcraft traditions, as I exorcise the ill creature of earth or something like that. Blessings be upon the ill creature of earth, and then I exorcise the ill creature of water and stuff like that.
All can be found also in, what was it, the Witch's Bible?
Yeah, the Witch's Bible by the Janet Stewart Farrar. But every tradition has their own thing. Some people will just have you throw the salt into the earth or the salt into the water, because salt's naturally a purifier and a cleanser. I had one friend who was a witch, and she wouldn't consecrate her salt. Me, I like to consecrate the salt first, bless it first. And she described it, she's like, oh, it already has that property inherited in it, so I'm just going to throw it in there.
Yeah, I always see him cringe because I'll do that too.
Yeah.
Like if we're like running late, especially with planetary hours, I'm just like...
Yeah.
It's like, I believe in myself.
Yeah, but once we usually keep a dish of salt and a dish of water on our working altar too, so that they're constantly, it's constantly there. So if the water dish gets too low, we usually just pour out the old stuff, neutralize it by tracing a banishing pentagram over it, and then I'll pour it down the drain. Don't pour it on plants, especially if you use a lot of salt, because it'll kill your plants. And then I'll just refill it. Some people will say, well, you should only use spring water and everything like that.
Girl, it's getting cleansed.
Yeah, we live in the middle of the desert, and it's not exactly, there's not really any springs around here.
Also, if it's not being consumed, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Don't let your pets consume it.
Yeah. And people are like, well, just go ahead and buy a bottle of spring water. A lot of spring water that's on the market is just tap water that's been purified.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I hate to break it to you, but...
You can use distilled water if you want. I know that with a lot of the folk magic that I learned back in New Mexico from witches who would teach me, because I know some people say, boil your water before magical purposes. But the way that I was learning it from some of the witches in the Yerbidiyas there was, don't boil your water, especially if it's going to be an offering or used within magical purposes, because you're using fire, and that's going to kind of override a lot of the elemental power within the water. Unless it's for a specific purpose, like if you're brewing something. But within what I was doing, that's what they would tell me to avoid. So like we were saying, each tradition can vary depending on the practice and how it's passed down.
Yeah, you just got to experiment and see what works for you. So today's homework is I want everyone to make an amulet or a talisman.
Oh. Okay, go ahead, and then I'll go into it.
Okay. I'm done.
Okay. Make an amulet or a talisman. But what I was going to say too is once you're grown accustomed with cleansing and directing the energy within and around yourself, you can use your breath. Your breath is the element of air. I know everyone's read it in some book on the market today, and it's true. But you're learning to utilize it within yourself and push it through you is something completely different than just reading it. I recommend experimenting with it. Because like whenever I carry a specific stone with me to work because it assists me, I like to see it as like the magnifying glass that I use. And whenever I'm leaving, I breathe on it and I use the element of air within my body and with the power of fire within me, which is the will, to direct it to clean off all the gunk, all the caca, basically.
Now I can hear some of you out there saying, well, I went to go see somebody and they fixed me a mojo bag or a talisman to carry with me and they didn't consecrate it with the 4 elements. That is true, because that's what worked for them. And when I make mojo bags, I don't pass it through everything in all cases. Sometimes I just got to throw everything together and consecrate it as much as I can with my will, and it works. But you know, with mojo bags, one thing that they don't tell you too is that you got to breathe life into it. You know, some traditions and some people will say too that you have to name the mojo bag, give it a specific name, something that's not associated with the individual. What I usually do is I'll get the bag before I seal it up, and I'll whisper or say what it is that I want it to do, and I'll breathe 3 breaths into it, and then I'll tie it up. Other people, well, and I've seen this, is they'll take a lit match and they'll put it into the mojo bag and tie it up for the element of fire, which represents the spirit and will. But you know, and then you know, you hear me say, well, you said that they shouldn't use matches. True, but traditions vary. This is the way that I was taught. You know, not everyone's going to have the same hard, fast rules when it comes to doing any type of spiritual work. It's what works for you. You know, and I'm just going, you know, we're just going with what we had learned in the past.
And what's worked for us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we use matches in magic? Sometimes. It depends.
Yeah, usually it's whenever I'm going to throw down, someone's starting up some stuff and I got to throw down. But I don't use it on a regular basis. When we light our altar candles, we use
our torches.
Mm-hmm. Or I'll light a little bamboo stick on fire from another candle flame. Usually not one of the magic candles.
Just like one of our illuminator ones. Should you consecrate your pokey? I would say so, yes. You're utilizing it within your magical practice. Consecrate it.
And in the Key of Solomon too, it actually has a consecration for that. It's called a bruin or burin. I'm not saying it right.
Some words are very hard to pronounce.
Yeah. What are we at for time?
You can't see that far.
Okay.
You're gonna get a close up. 31 minutes, and we are good.
So, well, we'll catch you guys next time.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions,
Like, comment, share, subscribe, so that way we can get more ideas on how we can help you.
talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.